Welcome to Planning Ahead with CMS. In part one of this series, we looked at an overview of EIAs and the process that must be carried out to undertake the assessment. In this episode, we'll look at the potential problem areas for EIAs. Carrying out an EIA is a complex and technical process, and one which poses a lot of challenges for developers. Where a developer disagrees with a decision maker's scoping opinion, they don't have the ability to appeal that decision to the Secretary of State. The only option is to challenge that opinion via judicial review. This can be extremely time-consuming and expensive. The most common challenges with EIAs involve whether the development needs an EIA, specifically if the developments fall into the Schedule 1 or the Schedule 2 list, and whether the development is likely to have significant environmental effects. Another is whether the EIA should have included the whole development or just a discrete part of the project, or whether the EIA was undertaken at the right stage. A lot of consenting processes are multi-stage, where you'll get a consenting outline and subsequent consents in more detail. These are particularly problematic because they might require multiple EIAs as part of the process. Also, whether the EIA was carried out in a proper and fair manner, allowing there to be an opportunity for the public to participate as much as required. Another issue can be where there's been a failure to take into account the relevant impact of the development in the EIA. The best way to mitigate against the risk of these challenges is by carrying out an early screening process that identifies the possible environmental effects of the development. This will help the consenting authority decide if an EIA is needed. Obtaining early screening will also help to protect against future challenge in the courts. Another way is by carrying out an early assessment of whether the development is at high risk of challenge. This can inform how extensive an EIA process should be and how particular the legal review is. It's very important as part of the EIA process to adequately consider alternative options for the development. A developer does not need to choose the location that has the least environmental impact, but at least needs to be able to defend and justify its decision to proceed in the relevant location by reference to alternatives that it's considered. There's also a need to manage local concerns. Developers can do this by engaging early on with consultation groups and the public. Another key one is making sure that everything is structured properly in the environmental statement with the possibility of challenge in mind. This can be done by making sure all documents make sense, are well structured, have paragraph numbers, are paginated, and all that other boring stuff that we do to make things easy to read. A key area for your EIA is thinking about what your baseline is before any development is carried out. This requires a comprehensive assessment of local conditions existing in the vicinity of the development that could possibly affect the proposed development as it comes forward. It provides key facts that inform the decision-making process and ensures compliance with the regulatory requirement. It also provides a useful reference point for comparison at different stages of the development process. Determining your baseline can be hard work. Common issues are collecting too much or too little data, or data that is too general, or data on locations and people that are not specifically relevant to the project. Other issues arise when the local development plan changes, which alters what kind of development can take place in the vicinity of the development, and this can render an original baseline redundant. It is advisable to carefully plan how the baseline is established, what information is needed, and how it will be used in the future to undertake the EIA. I'm now going to highlight some other common issues that developers face. One is not using a defined team of consultants to build the EIA. People misunderstanding what the development is and how it will affect the environment. This is linked to not having accessible EIA documents, so it's imperative that all documents are written in clear and accessible language and technical terms covered in a way that people can understand. Also, not complying with the scoping opinion or direction or assessing what the development authority says properly when deciding what to put in your EIA. For more information on EIAs, please feel free to get in touch with one of our team members and tune into our next episode where we're going to consider in broad terms what type of information should be included in an environmental statement.